SmackDown starts off with Cody Rhodes. He was cutting a promo. He was about to start mentioning Drew McIntyre, but Drew McIntyre ends up interrupting him. Ends up basically saying that all these fans shouldn't be cheering Cody and they should be cheering him instead. He ends up saying that no matter what Cody Rhodes does, that they're always going to cheer him. Then he starts rambling on about Jacob Fatu, ends up saying that he's innocent, that he has nothing to do with Jacob Fatu. Cody Rhodes ends up just crashing out like he did last week, ends up requesting that let's just go ahead have a match right here. They was about to brawl, but then you end up getting Jimmy Uso. He comes out, they brawl for a bit, and then this eventually leads to the main event between Jimmy Uso and Drew McIntyre. I like what they did here. Nothing too major here. Good way to open the show. Very interested to see what's the end goal with Jimmy Uso in the end, because Jimmy Uso has been on Raw. It's actually kind of weird because Jimmy Uso is still a SmackDown guy, but he's been on Raw a lot. So it's very weird on like what brand he is, because I thought he was a Raw guy, to be honest with you. I thought he would switch over to Raw with the way he's been on Raw, because he's been on Raw like for a good like 2 months now at this point. So it's like I thought he was just on Raw. So we'll see where this goes, to be honest with you. I'm interested to see where it goes, because it's like he's not going to beat Drew McIntyre, so I don't know if this is just going to be the end of the whole thing and we're going to end the whole Jacob Fatu thing. Plus, we don't know how long Jacob is going to be out, because once Jacob Fatu returns, I'm assuming that's going to be the end of Jimmy Uso being involved, because you have Jacob back. So we'll see how this plays out, but I did like the opening segment overall. I thought it was cool. It then eventually leads to the main event where eventually Jimmy and Drew had their match, and it was a decent match. It ended up being a no disqualification match. So I did like how they start off the show. Afterwards, we end up getting a quick tag team match between the MFTs. Well, it wasn't quick, but between the MFTs, Jeff Cobb, JC Mateo, and Tama Tonga versus Shinsuke Nakamura and Rey Fenix. I was so confused at first on why this match happened, but then I had to remember last week, because I knew why Shinsuke was in the match. I was confused why Rey Fenix was in the match, but then I remember I was like, yeah, there was a backstage segment where Solo interrupted like his photo shoot or whatever, and they attacked him. Um, the MFTs won due to Solo Sikoa interfering in the match. They end up picking up the victory. They're still wearing their face paint. I like what they're doing with the MFTs. I just hope that they don't go back on their booking, because right now they're trying to book them back strong. I hope they don't make them losers again. I just don't know what the end goal is with them. I hope the end goal with them is just them winning the tag titles, because I don't want to see them winning singles gold right now, just because I just don't think it makes sense for them to win singles gold, because they should not be winning the U.S. title. I'm sorry. Ilya Dragunov needs to stay U.S. champion. And if there is anyone else who does deserve it, it should be Aleister Black. And then when it comes to the main event scene, that should stay Cody, Drew, and Randy. So really, the only thing I can see is they could go after the tag team titles. That's the only thing I will want them to see them win, is the tag team titles, which I will be thankful for, because I'm not the biggest Y6 guy. And honestly, I'm just not really looking forward to their title reign, because I don't really find it that interesting. And plus the whole Street Profits stuff, I don't know what they're going with that. I don't know if they're going to break them up, reunite them. I don't really know what's the end goal there. So we'll see with this MFT stuff. I hope it actually goes somewhere, mainly in the tag team division, because I do not want to see them in the main event or in the mid-card scene like that. So we'll see how this plays out, but it does have potential. Now we end up getting Tiffany Stratton versus Kiana James. This match, we already know who's going to win this match. Tiffany Stratton wins, but then afterwards you get Julia. She attacks Tiffany Stratton. Then you get Jade Cargill makes the save. After she makes the save, she's holding Tiffany Stratton's hand up, and then she finally attacks Tiffany Stratton, fully turning heel. Thank you. I have been asking for her to turn heel since she first arrived in WWE. I've been saying this for the longest, because I seen her in AEW, and I'm like, she's just more of a natural heel. We needed this heel turn. We needed her to turn heel. This was the right decision, because SmackDown needs heels. They need a heel on SmackDown in the main event scene outside of Nia Jax. They needed this. Plus, if you want to make this Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill feud work, one of them needed to be a heel. I'm glad it was Jade Cargill. This was perfect. We needed Jade to turn heel. Plus, she ended up cutting a backstage segment promo. That was the best promo she has cut in WWE. I swear. She sounded way more convincing, way more intimidating. She's just a more natural heel. Thank God she finally turned her. This was needed. Now, the only thing I would do now, give her a mouthpiece. Even though I don't think she's god awful on the microphone, she still needs a mouthpiece, I will say. Put her with B-Fab. Put her with B-Fab. That's an easy parent to have beef. You're not doing anything with BFAB anyway. Might as well use some and use your talent on the roster that you're clearly not using. Have her be a mouthpiece. Have her be a mouthpiece. Have her cut the promos for Jade Cargill, and then Jade can throw a word in there here and there. But for the most part, have BFAB do majority of the talking. I like what they did here. Now I don't know what they're doing with this whole Julia storyline because it honestly doesn't make any sense. Because if you're not going to do title versus title, what is the point of this feud? Because this feud does nobody any favors. And honestly, yeah, it does nobody no favors because it doesn't elevate Tiffany, but it doesn't elevate Julia. So I don't know if they're going to continue that rivalry or they're just going to be like, yeah, because at Saturday night's main event, it's going to be Jade versus Tiffany. So it's like, are we just not going to do the Julia stuff no more? It's like, that's where it's a bit confusing. I don't know, like, because if you're not going to do champion versus champion for both belts, what is the point of this feud? And even that, it's like, because that's the only way to make that feud interesting because you can't just do one title because that just doesn't make any sense. And then the SmackDown division is already so lacking where you kind of have to do title versus title where you could combine both divisions into one instead of separating them due to you not having enough women. So I don't know what they're going to do with the whole Julia stuff. I don't really care for it because if they even do run that match, we know Julia is not winning. Like, she's not beating Tiffany Stratton, I'm sorry, and she's not beating Jade Cargill if they also do that. So I don't know where this is going, but if you're not going to do title versus title, please end that feud because there's no reason to just continue that feud for you just to defend one of the belts or defend none of the belts because that doesn't help their title reign at all. So we'll see how that plays out. But Jade Cargill turning heel is perfect. The only thing I would do now, just give her BFAB. Put BFAB next to her, have her cut the promos, give her a mouthpiece. Easy. So we'll see how this plays out, but I'm very excited for this Jade Cargill heel turn. Afterwards, we end up getting a United States Open challenge between Ilya Dragunov and Aleister Black. They put on a really good match. Really enjoyed this match. The only thing I will say, I don't like the ending of this match though, because we end up getting some shenanigans from Zelina Vega interfering. She ends up getting kicked out. Then you end up getting Damian Priest comes out and towards the end of the match distracts Aleister Black. This allows Ilya to hit the get the pinfall. I don't like that because I kind of wish that they had Aleister Black lose more cleanly. I get why they did it because they wanted to protect him, but I feel like they could have done it both because his wife got kicked out. You could have just had that be the distraction. I didn't like that Damian Priest distracted him instead. Because we already done that before. Yeah, we already done that. Because they did the same thing with Sami Zayn and Aleister Black, where Damian Priest distracted him and cost him. Yeah, you did the same thing twice. He already cost him 2 championship matches. We didn't need him to do it again. I don't understand it. What they could have done is just had Zelina Vega get tossed out like they did. Have that be the distraction. Then Ilya ends up taking the victory. I didn't like that Damian Priest came out and like, I don't know. I feel like they should have had Ilya won the match first, get out of the ring, have his moment to celebrate. Then Damian Priest comes out, attacks Aleister. But instead, Damian Priest was already out when Ilya won, so that kind of took away from the moment because everybody was just focused on Damian Priest and Aleister Black. I just feel like they just did it kind of backwards. I feel like they should have just had Zelina Vega be the thing that make him lose his focus. But Damian Priest attacks Aleister Black afterwards, but then Zelina Vega ends up making a save by like hopping on Damian Priest's back and stretching his eyes out. So we're continuing this feud, which I am a bit confused by because it was a last man standing match. I just assumed that was the end of the feud. So I'm assuming Damian Priest is going to get his get back and win this time because there's no reason how you're just going to have the feud continue and not have Damian win. But I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm just a bit confused on why we're continuing this. But to be fair, if you want to continue to use Damian Priest, this is kind of the only feud they have due to the lack of bodies they have on SmackDown. So I'm not mad at it. I'm just a bit confused by it. Plus, Ilya Dragunov could just continue to do open challenges. So Ilya will always have something to do. You kind of need something for Aleister and Damian. So I understand why they're doing it. I'm interested either way. I just would have executed it a bit differently. Now we get the main event. Drew McIntyre versus Jimmy Uso. No disqualification match. Drew McIntyre wins. I'm not even going to try to waste my time on this. But after the match, though, Drew McIntyre attacks Jimmy Uso. Cody Rhodes, of course, comes out for the save, but then eventually Drew McIntyre ends up recovering and ends up hitting Cody Rhodes with a Claymore. I like what they did here. Good way to close the show out. Makes Drew look strong. I just hope that they do the complete opposite on SmackDown. I hope it's Cody the one standing tall on SmackDown because we need Cody to lose that championship. I'm just going to say, we need Cody to lose that championship. Saturday night's main event, Cody needs to lose. I don't think he will lose, but that's what we need. We need Cody to lose. I'm sorry. We need Cody to lose. We need something new, something refreshing on SmackDown. in that main event scene. We just do. We need Cody chasing the title because we're clearly not going to get the Randy feud anytime soon. If we are going to get it, it's going to happen at Mania. So if we're going to wait that long, we need something new to give Cody something for refreshing until Royal Rumble season. Overall, this was a good SmackDown. SmackDown and Raw has been improving week by week. Hopefully they continue these good stretch of shows. You guys let me know your overall thoughts, opinions down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. But yeah, that's it.